I learned a few things about cooking non-loin cuts at the Masterpieces event, and now it's your turn. Here's Chef Duncan Robertson sharing his secrets on how to cook the perfect flank steak.
What we're going to do first is season the meat. We add on some pepper, and then we take a little bit of salt, and I'm using sea salt today. I think sea salt has a better flavour, and season it quite generously. Then what we need to do is add some oil. It's always important to put oil on the steak and not in the pan. And if you put the oil in the pan, it can burn, and then when you put the meat in the pan, it gets a burnt flavour. Okay, and then it's important to turn it over and put pepper and salt and oil on the other side as well. I've got a preheated pan over here, nice and hot, so when it goes in it sears and gets a nice crust on it. Otherwise it releases juices and then it starts to boil and stew. We don't want that at all. Pan's nice and hot. You should hear it sizzle when it hits the pan. Now I'm only going to cook one of them here today, and then I'm going to place that into the oven after it's sealed, and then I'm going to let it finish in the oven at 60 degrees for just about half an hour, and it should come out beautiful and medium. So while that steak's searing, we're going to get onto the sauce, which is the shallot compote. Firstly, we take some butter, just 80 grams of butter, and let that melt in the pan. While the butter's melting, we add some oil to it, and what that does is it increases the temperature of the butter, because butter's got protein in it and it starts to burn if you don't add the oil to extend its temperature. Then all we do is we add some shallots. The shallots have been sliced very thinly, and we place those into the pan as well. Lastly, we add the fresh thyme. Now thyme is a beautiful French herb. Just coming back to the steak quickly, you can see here and you can hear that it's sizzling away, and you can start to see pools of blood and juice start to rise to the top of the steak. And now it's time to turn it. Lift up the steak, and you can see that beautiful brown colour on the underside of the steak. It's got a nice crust from the sea salt, but before I put it back down in the pan, it's really important to let the heat recover in the pan. If you put it down too soon, the pan goes cold, and then we're not treating this side of the steak with as much respect as the first. You hear it sizzle, it's fantastic. Now I'm going to place that steak in the oven and then just let it set at 60 degrees for half an hour. Then we just add a splash of white wine, about 100 mils, and then we let that reduce down to a beautiful, beautiful sauce. Okay, now it's had about half an hour in the oven at 60 degrees. You can see on the flank steak that there's these long grains through here, and if we cut against them, it makes it easier for your guest or your customer to chew. Then all we need to do is portion that up into a few nice slices and then place it onto the plate. All the wine has reduced and all the shallots are beautiful and syrupy. We just place those over the meat. So there we have it, a fantastic seared flank steak with a nice shallot compote. And of course, thank you to the farmers of Australia for producing the best quality red meat in the whole world. Enjoy, bon appetit.